And we're going to go back and now excuse my ignorance and my Neanderthal sound from when I was 21 years old. But this is me when I was, well, whatever, 23 years old, 24 years old, whatever I was at the time, driving my Corvette. Ultimately, what happened is when you street race, you slow down the highway so that the cars can stage out front. Cars go in the back and they follow and everything like that. Let Shorty get back in the car before we go. This was one of those times where the normal street racing spots they weren't going to do. So I was like, all right, well, I'm not going to go there. I'm just going to go home. When I went to go home, I let everyone leave the lot. They went and did their thing. I left 5 minutes later, and what happens? I drove down the road, and I was like, oh, there goes cops. So, like, I knew something was going on, and all of a sudden, there's traffic. And I was like, this is either the race, but then you see all the cop lights. I'm like, aha, all these guys got pinched. So single file, they close down the highway, and they're feeding cars one after another. And what happens? They point me over to the right. And I was like, what did I do? These cars have been on the side of the road for minutes. Why am I over here? And the simple answer was I was guilty by driving a sports car at 1 in the morning. And although I was with the cars in the parking lot, I had nothing to do with the actual race or the closing of the highway or anything like that. Which ultimately, you may get a BS ticket for being there, whatever the situation may be, watching a street race. This time it didn't happen like that. Roll the tape. All right, so here's the story. We're driving down the highway. There's a street race going on in front of us on the major highway, 287. Anyways, a whole bunch of cars in front of us, nothing we can really do. We're sitting in the back of the pack, ready to go meet some people at the gas station. Cops come whizzing through traffic, pull everybody over, block the entire highway about 2 miles up. We don't find this out for like 5 minutes until when we get there. They got the road cut off, and we're driving through. They send us over, they're like, you can go park with those other cars. 45 minutes later, it's now 2:17 in the morning. We were stopped at 1:10 in the morning. Hour and 10 minutes later, we're sitting here, tow trucks in front of us, and they're going to tow our car for being behind because somebody said we were blocking traffic in the front of the pack. So here we are, screwed, and we'll see what happens. I'm looking at my speeding ticket, which I just got for not even breaking the speed limit and being in the back of the pack. I got 110 plus in a 55 for doing nothing. This is amazing. So there I am, sitting on a ticket for doing 110 plus in a 55 when I wasn't even breaking the speed limit. I didn't want to be a part of it. I let them go out. They did their thing, and I ended up feeling the repercussions just because I drove a sports car, which is bullshit. That's why you go to the court. And what happens when you go to the court? Ideally, they present evidence to show and prove you were doing something. If they don't have the evidence to prove it, they let you go. What happened with me, and I have the entire transcript of the court here, I was young. I decided to not get a lawyer because it was such a cut and dry case because I knew I wasn't speeding. They had no evidence I was speeding. And to make a case that I was doing 110 plus, and this was funny because they wrote the same ticket for all of these cars, and some of the cars couldn't even achieve 110. They just happened to be there, and they were actually part of the street race, but these guys actually earned some form of ticket. Whether they were issued the wrong ticket, which is 110 plus and a 55, is beside the point. But to give a guy a ticket who's driving a minivan to go watch a street race that does 86 miles an hour, but you're giving him a ticket for 110 plus when it's not even possible in his vehicle, you'd think all these tickets would be thrown out. Not in the town of Ramapo, state of New York, town of Ramapo, the honorable, or possibly, I'm not going to say dishonorable, but if you look up the town of Ramapo court, they were shut down by the FBI. So the court was corrupt. They were deemed corrupt. They were corrupt while my case went on. And I'll put a link to this. I'll scan and put a link to this in the description. I literally went to court. They kicked me down a couple of times because I kept motioning for discovery. When you motion for discovery, the state has to give you the evidence that they have against you so you can prepare for trial. Motion for discovery, no discovery. They rescheduled it. They said they bring discovery the next time. Second time, motion for discovery, they didn't bring it. They were supposed to dismiss the case. They did not dismiss the case. They rescheduled it for a third time. I walked in there happy as a pig in slop. And I was like, these guys, they have no chance. They're going to dismiss it. Didn't have my discovery for a third time. Went in. They kept pushing my case until I was the last person in the courtroom. It was the judge, the stenographer, myself, and the cop. So everybody, no witnesses. Judge takes the cop into the back room. They sit down. They come back. They come and give me the discovery. The guy writes it in the back with the judge. They come and hand it to me and say, here's your discovery. What do you want to do? I'm like, this is BS. So I said, I'm going to take it to trial. There's no proof. We went to trial. I said, and the cop claimed that he paced me. He did not pace me. He was nowhere near me. I pulled into a line of cars. They pointed me to the side. They found me guilty. And they said, well, I feel like the cop is out in the interest of justice, so you're guilty. I'm going to take his word over yours. And as a kid, and this is the state of New York, I would have had to go to Long Island to an appellate court and go argue back and forth. But I was then found guilty of 110 plus in a 55. Went on my driver's license as 110 plus, guilty as charged. And it screwed with my insurance. It screwed with my life pretty good. And when this thing got shut down by the FBI, I was like, yes. I called up. This judge had already retired by the time. He was sitting on some cushy job where he was consulting with the court. And this all came back. I don't know what happened to the cop, but it was a load of horse shit, and I'll never forget it. So that's something to be aware of when you get into a situation like this. Always hire a lawyer, because they will push around an individual where they won't push around a lawyer. I could have taken this to the appellate court and spent lots more money. I was young at the time. I didn't have the money to spend. It was over, and I was done with it. So I made the mistake of not pursuing it at this point in time. I probably should have. It is what it is. Thanks for making it through the whole video. I appreciate it. If you like what you saw, like below, comment below. Those both help my videos go up in rankings, and that helps me out. So thank you for that. If you don't enjoy it, don't say anything. But since YouTube does its own things in the end here, I have 20 seconds in which to do that. And that's going to stop right now.